Chapter 751. If I'm to speak frankly, of course I don't want to stop, but if we do it here, we will get cold. After these words, Kishir tenderly bit and sucked on Yidhir's lower lip and let it go. It was a clever touch, gentle enough not to hurt, but still unmistakably stimulating. In Kishir's gaze fixed upon Yidhir's now swollen lips, the unquenched fervor was evident. It was enough to assure Yidhir that Kishir had no intention of stopping this act just yet. Understood. Let's go. Hearing Yidhir's response, Kishir smiled slyly and raised his hand. The large, soft white clothes neatly piled near the door flew elegantly through the air, landed gracefully in his palm. These clothes, large enough to envelop even a tall male adult, were 2 towels used by nobles to dry and wrap their bodies after a bath. Now, let's get up, Kishir said, expertly grabbing one end of the towel and spreading it. He spun it around, suddenly enveloped both himself and Yidhir in its folds. Wait a moment. Before Yidhir could protest about sharing a single towel, Kishir led him to the bedroom with fluid, natural movements. Exiting the bathroom and closing the door behind them, Kishir appeared no different than usual. But the moment they entered the dimly lit bedroom, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Yidhir. As Yidhir turned at the sound of his name, Kishir's lips met his, overlapping with his own. Yidhir nearly stumbled backward, but Kishir's quick reflexes, pulling up the towel, supported his head. The kiss, deeper and more secretive than in the bathroom, enveloped them under the towel's small shade. Yidhir, feeling unsteady, unwrapped his arms around Kishir's neck. The act, hidden in the darkness of a single cloth, felt secretly and sinfully forbidden. After a while, when Kishir lifted his head and dropped the towel, Yidhir's resolve had returned, as if nothing had happened. Commander, Yidhir murmured. Kishir responded with a bright, silent laugh. In the same time, a surge of blind emotions, screaming to be embraced, flowed into Yidhir's heart. In the presence of that blinding light, everything else faded and disappeared. As Yidhir gasped, Kishir pressed his lips to his, embracing his waist. Yidhir willingly accepted everything, embracing Kishir in return. They entangled urgently, turning this way and that, exploring each other's bodies. They did not feel the unnecessary nature of their actions, lost in each other's presence. Yidhir regained his surroundings only after stumbling against a nightstand, spilling onto the bed with Kishir. The sensation of sinking into the bed was dizzyingly thrilling. Before the bed's rocking subsided, Yidhir eagerly wrapped his legs around Kishir, already entangled between them. Where they were and how they were positioned no longer mattered. Hurry, quickly. In the searing heat of liberation, all that was desired was to be even more free from the being before them. Amidst the familiar scent and presence, confidence in this fact was affirmed with a slight shiver, as fingers as desirous as Yidhir's finally grasped and lifted the back of the knees. Yidhir inhaled sharply in anticipation of what was to come, but for some reason, Kishir did not move immediately from that position. His forehead was sweaty and his body hot, clearly not far from climax. Yet he suddenly became lost in thought. It was an incomprehensible action. Commander? At Yidhir's call, Kishir finally lifted his head. No, it's nothing. A soft reply came back. Yidhir wanted to ask more, but the thoughts vanished temporarily due to the fingers that slipped inside. A tight sensation was felt, but it wasn't painful. Even though it had been a while since their bodies had overlapped after the heat period, the experience of being fully opened once didn't just disappear. Yidhir was certain that the tightness would soon fade, and as expected, not long after the fingers moved, a moist sound began to emanate from below. It meant the body of an Omega Awakener was changing, desiring its counterpart. Until just before that heat period, my body didn't get wet this quickly. Certainly, something had changed since then. Either speculated that the change started the moment he compromised with his instincts. It was the first time he hadn't felt repulsed by his instincts as an awakener with the second gender. That's why things that would have seemed needless and nauseating before now didn't feel bad. There was no embarrassment or shame. Even if he didn't overlap bodies with Kishir, his feelings towards him wouldn't change, and it wouldn't hinder living. But he didn't want to give up what could only be obtained and felt when their naked bodies touched. To Yudhir now, all these were equally important. Inside Yudhir, the fingers that were moving had increased in number. Due to their size, which couldn't be dismissed as just fingers, the inside kept pleading for relief from the tightness, which was soon solved as more moisture seeped out. But even with enough fingers to widen, Kishir, for some reason, did not stop moving. Yudhir tightened around the unusually aggressive fingers inside him and threw his head back. The movement, penetrating and withdrawing between the sensitive membranes, resonated in his abdomen as if it was an actual insertion. With each squelching sound, transparent mucus flowed between the bones and his vision flashed. As he bit his lip and twisted his waist, Kishir kissed him as if to soothe. Yet the sound of friction below did not change. Yudhir swallowed his breath and was about to say something to Kishir, but his head was thrown back with a sudden surge of pleasure. Instinctively clutching the front, his waist involuntarily shook and a climax surged from the tingling inside his lower abdomen. As Yudhir released his second climax, hot fluid splashed between his stomach and thighs. Yudhir realized that it was Kishir's ejaculate, suddenly released, and his eyes widened. Unbeknownst to him, Kishir had penetrated him with his fingers while stimulating holding himself. It was clear, even without asking, that he had deliberately ejaculated without insertion. Yudhir was so bewildered that he couldn't think of anything. Commander, what exactly? It doesn't always have to be inserted for it to be an act. Kishir responded with a face tinged with a languor of the aftermath. Isn't a flavor a bit different from the usual also pleasant? I found it quite delightful. Indeed, it wasn't as if there had never been times before when they had physically entangled without going all the way. If one were to question whether it was enjoyable or not, the answer would certainly be that it was. However, today was somehow different from those times. Yudhir thought that Kishir had seemed intent on going all the way until partway through. The sudden change in decision must surely have had a reason. I felt something was off since the moment I lifted my knees. But why? Yudhir raised his hand to stop Kishir, who seemed about to tend to something between his legs. A doubtful gaze swept over Kishir and then moved towards his own legs. Yudhir? Wait, do not touch. Without hesitation, Yudhir peered between his own legs, prompting Kishir to extend a hand as if to stop him, only to halt abruptly, blocked by refusal. His eyebrows softened as he wore a subtle expression. ... Seeing that expression, Yudhir was certain that something had been discovered near his leg, prompting a change of heart. Yudhir lightly used his power to inspect the inside of his knee. The moment he caught a small mirror carried by the wind, Kishir finally spoke. There is a wound there. A wound? It's not a major mark, so small that I didn't notice it even when bathing. Just a few tiny bruises remained, like dots on the inner thigh. According to Kishir, these were minute bruises, barely visible to the naked eye, lingering on the inside of the thigh. It seemed the injury sustained today wasn't limited to his waist. When did I get it? Fighting monsters, or when I clashed with those other merchants? He recalled a time when he had rolled on the ground while confronting Aton, losing all his candies and enduring a fair bit of trouble because of that creature. It wouldn't have been strange if such injuries had remained unnoticed. But it doesn't hurt, and the wound is so small it can barely be seen. Did you really stop because of that? Yes, because of that. It doesn't hurt at all, really, because of that. A wound whose cause even you can't remember might turn into something far more dangerous, don't you know? The possibility was slim, but it was there. With just a few words, the man silenced Either for a moment, then broke the silence with a sigh and a smile. Look at Kishir, as observant as he can be. Even in the middle of it, he just observed these tiny bruises and nope, I'm not going to push him. I'm just going to make it an enjoyable thing.